Holy shit, it's the Words with Nerds, and it
All
looks like
right.
we're about to get it proactive.
Don't do it.
No, we're gonna get hit. Put farts over that. We're gonna put farts over that.
Farts. We're jamming a farts as far as it goes.
Okay, so we're back. This is issue 31 with the Words with the Nerds. This is the hostess with the leastest, the mostest, whatever you want to call it. We ball it, whatever. It's the 90s edition this week. It's AKA Sundance, AKA DJ.
AKA, it's slick. The number finally matches my age. The Vic Rodriguez.
Oh my god. It's Space Jam Case. If we're going 90s, I guess.
I like
Yeah, you like what I did there?
Now, for those of you watching, you're probably wondering why we look like we just stepped out of several different 90s themed music videos from TRL or 106 in Park. I am here to tell you that we are doing this week's It Is My Choice, and I decided that we should do a 90s theme, kind of also a sequel to Top Notch. So we'll be doing various different episodes in the future that have the Top Notch in front of them and then Top Notch blank. So for this one, it's Top Notch 90s themed. In which case, each one of us will choose two things that we thought were, essential in the essence of the 90s. It could be anything, literally anything at all. It could be anything from a video game to a TV show. Now, in all fairness, we're going to try and keep it as nerdy as possible because that's our whole shtick. But guys, how are you feeling about this episode? What's the word?
I'm excited.
Dude, I'm hyped. I'm so hyped right now. We're all 90s babies. I mean, Victor, are you technically 90s baby or are you an 80s baby? What year were you born?
He's right on the cusp.
I'm on the cusp. I lived in the 90s.
1990, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in the 89, so this was a good one for me because I remember a lot. I was like, ooh, it's my time to shine. Age check.
So I mean, age check. Definitely feeling a little bit older this week just because first off, I just wanted to say real quick, I don't know if you guys have anything to talk about, but I just want to get it off my chest before I lose it. The new trailer for Marvel's What Ifs was released today, and it looks fantastic, featuring the voices of Chris Hemsworth, Robert Downey Jr., Michael B. Jordan, and the late and great Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it looks so good.
What do you guys think?
Again, bro, I'm just excited. What was that?
That's
cat.
Is that my cat? Oh my god, hold on.
Your electrocuted dead cat.
Pop a picture of myself.
Oh,
did you just screenshot yourself? Is that what you did?
I don't think that's what he did. But anyways, while Vince works with Coda, the glorious kitten, Victor, what do you think is your favorite? What was your favorite scenario in the Marvel What Ifs?
Do I have to say
that you saw in the trailer? No.
Do I? I have them up right now, man. They're in the back. My favorite trailer, my favorite segment was when that cat just got electrocuted on camera.
No, he didn't get electrocuted. Bro, he's new. He's learning. He's like 3 months old, and he just fell into a hole that he could not get himself out of. So thank God I'm home, because if I wasn't home, he'd literally be in that little corner for God knows how long. But he's okay.
Well, back to the nerd. Sorry. back to the nerdum and not Vince rescuing cats and shit. My favorite segment was the tidbit of Marvel Zombies that we saw. Literally, like there was 2 clips of 2 major characters as zombies. And I was like, oh shit, they're delivering. Oh my God, I'm excited. Like that's what got me like just hyped for that series in general, honestly. Besides the great voice actors, that was where I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see like Kevin Feige put that in an animated world. I know we would never see it in live action, but I'm excited to see that animated nonetheless.
For sure.
Vince, what about you? Was there a favorite in the trailer that you saw that you were like, oh, I'm looking forward to this episode?
There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure like top-notch nerds know, right? But I'm always learning as I go. I saw T'Challa as Star-Lord, and I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, what's this? I'm really excited to see that storyline, especially because he's teamed up with Yondu, who's one of my favorites in the MCU. So I'm excited to see that story and to learn what it is. You guys don't need to spoil it for me. I'd love to just watch and see for myself what exactly is going on there.
No,
That looks
no,
great.
no
Sounds
spoils.
great. Love both of them. So if you guys don't have anything that you want to mention, like word wise, or okay.
Nah.
So this week, like I said already, 90s themed. Like I said, we're going to try and keep the essence of the 90s as much as possible. As you can see here, I'm rocking a gold chain that was $14 on Amazon. I'm rocking a flannel jean jacket. My buddy's got Nirvana on. My man has a Saved by the Bell t-shirt of some kind, like all the way buttoned up. We're about to get into this, the Triple S crew. Just to point it out, we're going to keep it as nerdy as possible. Because you had such a positive reaction to it, I would love it if Vince, you would go first. I want to hear your first pick. So basically, what we're going to do is we're each going to take a turn. We each chose two things, and Vince, you will be first. I would love to hear this. Then, Slick Vic, you can allude to yours, sir. But how about you start off with yours, bud?
Cool. I'm ready for it. Let's go. So, my first pick in the 90s era was something that is close. Well, these are all close and near and dear to my heart. There we go.
Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Okay?
Meat and potatoes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is something I grew up with, something that I played a lot as a kid. I went with a video game for my first pick. This one is gonna be the 1996 classic Super Mario 64.
Ooh.
Yeah, man, this was my jam. I mean, I'm honestly, there's some days like a rainy day, I'll pop this on and I'll play again. This game holds up over time. It's an awesome play. I feel like most people have played Super Mario 64. Maybe not the whole game, but at least popped in and played a couple levels here and there. Yeah, dropped in 96. If you guys don't know what it is a Nintendo 64 game, if you couldn't tell by the name. Basically, you play as Mario. You go around hopping into different paintings. This is me hopping into different paintings.
Hopping into the paintings, yes.
Can you guys? Does it look
I
legit?
thought you were just about to just drop a bar, like.
I'm too white for that shit. Yeah, you hop into different paintings, and every level is different theme, and you go around beating the levels, and you get a star, and then the stars unlock different rooms, and then from there, you eventually fight Bowser by unlocking his room, and you rescue Princess Peach. So yeah, man, this I grew up playing this again. This is essential to me because it's very nostalgic and it holds up over time. Those are two huge things for me. I remember sitting down playing with my older sister. Shout out to my sister Jackie if you're listening. Yeah, we used to play this all the time as kids. Like I remember sitting in my mom's room because she was the only one in the house that had a TV. Mm-hmm. And we plugged the N64 up there while she was at work, and we would play Super Mario 64, man.
Bro.
Yeah, right?
You give me flashbacks because I think that was the same shit for my house. Was like when we had the 64, only our parents' room had the connectors for the back. So we would go in there and hook that shit up. Oh, man, I'm getting flashbacks.
I know, right? Yeah, it's open world. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like this was the first Mario game that was 3D, aside from like all the Sega games and stuff, because Sega didn't have that 3D quality,
no, it was picture.
No, it did not.
Right, like the original Nintendo. I'm sorry, not Sega. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the first one that had the 3D graphics and stuff. It only took 3 years to make this game, which in today's standard is so crazy. It's like that's extremely short, right?
Yeah, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Sorry, this guy's about to get into it again.
It's a cat.
So basically, I just made some key moments that I remember. Maybe you guys remember them too, but I pretty much just enjoyed all the different levels in the game, how they're all different themes. You guys remember Battlefield? That's the first level, right? Where you got to get around the dog on the post, and then at the end you race Koopa right to the top of the mountain.
Is that the one that goes like dun, 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 dun,
Yeah, dude,
yeah, I remember.
that's what I'm saying. Like the music in this game is something that just stuck with me my whole life. You say something, you make that reference, and I immediately think of it like that. I mean, going along with that shifting sands land, I can hear the music, that like twangy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man.
There are like a couple of levels, and for the Switch users out there, is the ones that have the Nintendo Switch. If you want to pick up, it was one of the flagstead games for the Nintendo Switch. Mario Odyssey is
I have
actually
it. Yes,
it's a wonderful rendition of everything that Vince just said, and it does have one of the original. It has several levels that are based off of the painting levels from Super Mario 64, but it does have the. I don't want to spoil it, so if you want to play it, because it doesn't show up till the end, but
I know exactly what you're talking about. I have it. I have Super Mario Odyssey. It's funny because that's been out for a long time, and for a long time I've been like wanting just a casual game to play on the Switch.
Mhm.
And Taylor's like, why don't you try Odyssey, Super Mario Odyssey? So we played it one day, and this one is 2 players. You play as Mario and then his Cappy. And so one person plays as Mario, one person plays as the Cap. I'm always Cappy, bro. I mean, I gotta be Cappy. I'm always rocking a hat. So we played together. We crushed like majority of the game at this point, but this is something that we're currently playing still, and it's a really fun game. Speaking of multiplayer, did you guys know Super Mario 64? I didn't know this till today, but they had a multiplayer version when you could play with Luigi, and it got cut before they released the game.
Everybody
I didn't know that.
wanted that so badly.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yep, that'd be awesome.
Man.
Okay, so
That's it.
Super Mario. I dig it. I love it. Super Mario N64 for Vince. Victor, hit us with the real. Give me your goods. Give me the numero uno for you, sir.
It's hydrating.
The number one. Yeah, I'm hydrating with this coffee. The number one for me. So I actually kind of gave him a heads up of what I was gonna pick, but then I changed my mind last minute. So this is gonna be kind of a little out of left field. One of the things that defined the 90s for me, and I think for a majority of us, were going to the movies to see the summer blockbusters. That was a huge thing for me. And the thing that I feel like for many of us started that trend was, in my opinion, one of the greatest movies ever done, which is dun dun dun, dun Terminator 2 Judgment Day. When that movie came out in 1994, bro, that was one of those movies that everyone stood in line to see. It was one of those first true, like, you had to stay in line. The movie surpassed the sequel surpassed the original movie, and it was one of those things where, like, for a couple of years, people were quoting it, and I'll admit I was quoting it. Like, they were quoting the iconic lines, like "I'll be back," "Hasta la vista, baby," stuff like that. So my second thing is my first thing I wanted it to be nerdy was this essential pick for me was the movie, the one of the nerdiest movies that came out that made nerddom kind of like start going forward within the cinema world, you know? Sorry.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's a great pick, man. I
mean,
love that pick.
I love that pick. Were there certain things about what was your favorite part about Terminator 2? I mean, there has to be one thing that kind of just, I mean, besides Linda Hamilton, because she's shredded.
She was yoked. She was yoked.
I saw you. I think we saw you think it, but you didn't say it, and we were like, "No, that's the right term."
No, we're going through it,
dude.
She's yoked, bro.
Sarah Connor. I was just like, I remember seeing that Vince, as a kid, and I'm like,
Vince, put a picture of Linda Hamilton here.
Like Linda Hamilton from 1994, that
From
specifically Terminator 2.
1994,
Yeah.
Terminator 2. Those
Don't
Specifically
put
arms.
1994.
yeah,
Those
don't put her
arms.
now.
Her arms, bro, she's yoked. It's like someone cracked an egg and fried those arms up. I swear to God.
Her and
She got
Arnold actually worked out together on
Mhm.
set. That's
I
crazy.
believe it.
They both had what is it? They both worked out together, and they both went to military training together for this movie in particular. The whole thing, it's on Netflix if anyone wants to see it. Spoiler alert, I suppose. But one of my favorite scenes in that movie that I remember watching it being like, this movie kicks ass and it hits the ground running, is the very first minute you see Arnold Schwarzenegger when he walks into the biker bar and he's just butt naked, like walks in there, starts looking at no. Well, have you watched the Terminators
And
before?
I have, yeah, but David
For
said, what moments strike you as your favorite? And Victor's like, I love when Arnold walks into the bar
so
butt ass naked.
one, 2021, baby, calm down. Two, it's one of those
Shit.
scenes where it's just shot so well, where you see him walk up to like a dude, just straight up like, give me your bike, your gun, and your clothes now. And that dude puts out a cigar on his fucking chest, and he just grabs the dude's hand and flings him through. It's an entire action scene, one of the best ones ever. And I don't know, that was that scene that got me hooked into that movie as a kid. I remember watching that as a kid being like, I want to ride a bike and I want to wear leather jackets. I would steal my dad's leather jacket because everyone's dad had a leather jacket in the 90s, and I would just wear it and get the sunglasses and ride around on my big wheel like bad to the bone. Yeah, that movie had so many things for me, and I'm a sucker for any Arnold movies, honestly. But that was like that one movie that I remember everyone saw, everyone enjoyed. My dad and me really, really bonded over. Like I remember in the summer of '94, we saw that. That was one of the only movies that he's like, "Do you want to go see it again?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would absolutely love to." And we go and see it, and I just remember like that's where I also fell in love with just like learning about movies, because I had to like hunt down magazines from I think it was like Sci-Fi and Horror Wire, where it's like all the stuff that goes behind the scenes that a long time ago, guys, before the internet and Wikipedia and shit, you had to buy magazines and shit. So my dad took me around and bought magazines and stuff about Terminator, and I just remember learning like all the practical effects that went into that thing, and I just fell in love with it. That's the '90s for me. That was summer '94. That was the blockbuster. I remember sitting down, watching it. You both have seen this movie, correct? I can
Sure.
I can say.
I mean, come on.
I'm just asking. One of my other favorite scenes that I remember just watching it, being a kid, being freaked out, having to find out if that any of that was fucking true or possible, was when the Liquid Terminator gets covered in liquid nitrogen. Do you guys remember that scene?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like
there's like
super iconic.
yeah, and I just remember seeing that scene where he just turns and then he just says, Arnold pulls out his handgun for some reason and just says, "Hasta la vista, baby," and shoots him. And I was like, that's going to be burned in my skull for the rest of my goddamn life. that wanting to find out, does nitrogen do that to a human body or like anything? And then saying, "Hasta la vista, baby," when I'm going to do something badass. So yeah, that's something that I could always fall back to with the 90s, and a lot of people do too. Little known fact, small bike company called Indian Motorcycles, they had a resurgence because of that movie.
Bro,
What?
okay, I'm sorry. You just said Indian Motorcycles is a small company.
There's
Well, they
nothing
were.
little about them. Yeah,
No,
before
back
this
then, yeah,
movie came out.
before this movie came out, they were actually going under because of it, and then they used Indian Motorcycles in it, and that thing, like, they're collector bikes now, like a lot of them. And Arnold bought 7 because of that fucking movie. Like he's like, I like riding these now, and he just bought 7. He's like known for having those bikes because of that, and he still has that bike from that movie. Sorry, it's one of my favorite fucking things. Like that, if I could ever afford it, I would love to get not a Harley. Like Harleys are great, but I would love to get an Indian motorcycle, just like the big
Oh, absolutely.
roadsters, bro.
Yeah, low key, like this is the wrong podcast for this, but I love bikes and stuff. I don't have one, but I know a shit ton about them just because I'm a fanboy of them, I guess. But Indian, yeah. When you said Indian Motorcycles is a small little company, I was like, what are you talking about, bro? They've been around since like the 50s, the 60s. They've been around for a long time. They were before Harley got big. But I had no idea that they were about to go under, and I mean, fucking Terminator saved them. That's actually really cool to know.
Yeah, that's why, dude. My dad, obviously, because you know my father, David, you know my dad. He's a car guy, but he's a bike guy too. And like he was just telling me, he's like that those bikes are beautiful. And yeah, dude, yeah, wrong podcast because I could go on for a little bit. Like I saw a white Indian motorcycle recently that I was like, dude, I want. But
all right, so
Terminator's mine.
T2. Gotcha. T2.
Yeah, T2.
Yeah, you listen, Victor. You're 50 seconons over your allotted time. You owe David now.
We let this man rumble, bro. But you gotta love it. Kids got moxie. I would say that's okay. Okay, so my pick is gonna have to be something pretty iconic. I literally just yeah.
Dude, I thought your mic broke. I was like, yeah.
No, it didn't. I just all right, hold on, let me think. I'm gonna have to go with Blockbuster.
Oh,
I had a short list, but all right. So hear me out. Sure. You were a kid, and you wanted to play a video game, or you wanted to get snacks, or you wanted to watch movies with your family. Blockbuster had it all. There's Hollywood Video, which I experienced, which I thought was amazing, but there was Blockbuster first, and Blockbuster was so dope because you could go in and you could somehow magically convince your parents to get you the newest Rugrats orange cassette tape, right? the Goosebumps, R.L. Stein, you know, the haunted mask. Exactly, and it would have the opening with R.L. Stein. He'll be like, "Hello and thank you for watching us."
Yeah,
like,
man,
what is happening?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
But at the same time, as you got older, you could say things like, "Hey, can I get this game for the PS1?" And then your parents, to suffer through this, could go and they could rent the newest rom-com, you know, Sleepless in Seattle or fucking T2 or you know, something like that. Like they could rent movies for themselves and they could get stuff for us when we were kids to be able to shut us up and calm us down and keep us occupied in the next room while they were working on a sister or a brother for you. And you know, that was what I most look forward to. That pretty much encapsulates like the 90s experience for me when I was a kid, because I always look forward to the weekends because my dad is a huge cinephile. He loves movies. So when we were younger, you know, when I was younger and he was younger, he would always take the newest movie. I remember he got the Rugrats movie for me one night and then Training Day for himself. And I was like, keep in mind, I was just 10 years old. And I was like, what's wrong with that? That was one of the first times I saw Denzel Washington. Like, he's just badass, you know? So, don't you say it.
My lizard.
Okay, thank God. But yeah, I would say for me that was pretty much like, whoa, you know, like that was one of those things that is always going to stay with me. I'm always going to remember Blockbuster. I'm always going to remember going in there and just like running down the halls and like picking up the movie that I wanted to see, whether it was Free Willy, you know, or like the Nickelodeon, like VHS, you know, it was just fun, man. You know, I still think about that to this day. So yeah, that's got a warm place in my heart.
Dude, I'm feeling so nostalgic right now. Honestly, you said Blockbuster. I didn't even think that was, you know,
on the table, right?
Yeah, but I'm so glad you brought it up because I'm just like sitting here listening to you, and all these memories are flowing through my mind, and
Right?
I'm just thinking, bro,
Bro.
like we had such a cool era to grow up in. I mean, there's so many cool eras, but I mean, I'm glad to be a '90s baby, and especially David. I'm looking at your hat too. Like we all grew up in Chicago,
Oh
and
yeah.
on top of being in
Oh
the
yeah.
'90s, like we grew up with Michael Jordan and again Space Jam. Like we had an awesome plethora of coolness in the 90s as we were growing up. I'm getting emotional now. I'm just excited to be a 90s baby, guys.
Nah, dude, you're right. Like even him, even David reminded me of just like going down the aisles and go and trying to find stuff and like just like looking at just like the same movie that you're just like I want to rewatch this one or I want to rewatch that. Like it was, you're giving me the flashbacks, man. And then yeah, when the PlayStation games came out, I don't know about you, but my dad like hated renting them. He fucking hated them because he was just like,
Because we
well,
would lose them.
yeah. Because
The late fees too.
The late fees, and then sometimes because my dad played games too, he would rent them. And then forget that he rented them. Like, he thought he owned them. And he would just play them through. And I'd be like, yo, you know we gotta return that shit, right?
Bro, I remember
Yeah.
being like a freshman in high school or something and going into my friend's basement who had a lot of money. He had a very nice house. He had like a home theater down there. And he's like, hey, you guys want to watch a movie? We're like, sure, cool, whatever. He opens up this huge closet and it's just blockbuster movies. I'm like, did you keep these? He goes, yeah. We just take them. We just rent them and we keep them. I'm like,
What
that's
do you mean
terrible.
just take
It's
them?
absolutely terrible.
I
I'm like,
got
you have so much money, you can't go buy a VHS right now.
bro. I
Tell
got
me more.
I got I got some funny shit relating to parents, I suppose, relating to David shit, bro. One time, my dad, and this is like, when was the last blockbuster open and like popular? That had to be like close to 22 years ago, right? About
Roughly.
2022. So my
There's
dad
still there's still one open
in Canada, all right, or Alaska.
in either Oregon or Washington.
Oh shit, fuck that.
It's the
Visit
last one.
visit for
Sorry, keep
nostalgia
going.
reasons. Dude, if you didn't return those tapes and you didn't pay for them, they would send that to your credit like bureau. They would, because you have to apply for like a credit card for them. And my dad got like a credit card thing, or like he's like, why am I getting hit every year for this thing? And he looks it up and it's literally, I think it was like Bad Boys. Like they put what movie it was, like Bad Boys movie rental for $22 collection,
Oh my
Blockbuster.
god.
I'm just like, dude, I thought these dudes were done. What the hell? Oh man, God, I'm feeling nostalgic as shit right now.
I had no idea it affected your credit. I'm thinking about that friend now, and I'm like, dude, you guys are probably in so much debt.
The only thing
No
that's
wonder.
left is the home theater.
No wonder this is terrible.
Oh
All right.
my god.
So, I mean, we've gone through the first half here, and
Yeah.
we've been hit with waves of nostalgia and emotion. And as we process this, we will be taking a short break so that we can recompose ourselves, come back, and hit the second half strong. Um, Vince, was there something that we were gonna do this break, or that we had something to share with the people?
I am claiming the power because I am the editor of all this, right? So we have issues, right? Well, we have issues instead of
Technical.
episodes.
Yeah.
We kind of treat the podcast and the series as if they're comics, right? So, this week's theme is pretty special. It's something we haven't done yet, but I hereby deem issue 31 of Nerds Words with Nerds Gold Edition.
All right.
You. Okay, I see
Not
it.
many get this reward. They're not as awesome as this issue, but here we are.
Submitted for approval by the Triple S Society. Now deemed as Gold Edition.
Damn.
This
Yes,
is Words with
sir.
Nerds Gold Edition. Okay, we will be right back after this quick break. As always, it's the Triple S crew, Sundance, Space Case, and Slick Vic. We'll see you soon, Space Cowboys.
I'll be back.
We're back. Just kidding. What's up, guys? It's the Triple S Crew again. We are back on this second half of Words with Nerds, the Gold Edition, because it is the theme of the week. It is 90s. That's right. We're talking about all the nostalgia that is washing over us today. So far in the first half, we have everything from Blockbuster to T2 featuring Linda Hamilton's Arms. Or maybe Linda Hamilton's Arms featuring T2.
Yeah.
One or the other. And then we have our boy Space Case himself talking about Super Mario N64, which is a iconic game, especially in the gaming community. We're going to keep it going. And Vince, let's hear from you. What is your second half? What is your second choice?
Oh, baby. This right here is like probably the most iconic thing in my childhood. This was a series that debuted on Fox in 1992, the year I was born. And I didn't watch it right away because I was a baby. But after I was done being a baby, I started watching this. This was my first introduction to superheroes and really just into the nerd kingdom. I'm talking about the series X-Men on Fox, the classic X-Men series. Yeah, dude.
Why'd it go so hard, that intro?
It does, and I honestly,
didn't have to slap that hard, but they did that.
It's such a cool intro, man. I love that song. This is something I watch often, and I never skip the intro. I never hit that skip intro button because I want to hear that whole song. A little side note on the song. So a couple years back in 2019, some asshole decided to sue them for copyright because he thought that his show had the same melody. If you guys want to go check it out, it's kind of similar. Sorry, he's like, you guys saw that behind me?
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways, this guy's name is Zoltan Crisco. Just check him out on YouTube. Seriously, Zoltan! Yeah, you want to talk about copyright? Yeah. Yeah, he tried suing the show for the copyright thing. But anyways, we're talking about X-Men. This was actually the second attempt to bring the comic to life into a TV series. The show follows the X-Men, obviously. And it's a little different from the movies. If you guys only saw the movies, like the Fox movies of recent, like X1, X2 with Hugh Jackman, and then even the newer ones with Jennifer, what's her face? I don't really care for her. I don't even know her name, actually.
Lawrence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Her, Blondie. This to me is X-Men. Like, this is the original X-Men. This should be how they portray them in the MCU going forward, and I really hope they do. And I hope they do the song too. But it follows Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, Beast, Gambit, Rogue, Jubilee, Wolverine, Professor Xavier, and then they've got a TV only character, and his name's Morph, and he's basically like Mystique as a guy. But what makes this essential for me, like I said, this is my first introduction to superheroes. And this kind of, in my mind, this is kind of like the basis to all superheroes now. It's weird how it kind of integrated, everything into my mind like that. Like when I watch Iron Man or anything else in the MCU, Thor or whatever, like I'm always referring back to the X-Men as having those powers first, almost. You know what I mean? Like Storm will always be, you say someone has weather powers, can control the weather. I'm like, that's Storm. Mind control. Everyone has mind control, but immediately I'm like, well, the original mind control is Professor Xavier, which, I mean, you guys can tell off of the Words with Nerds art. me with my mind control. Yeah. So yeah, man, X-Men huge in my childhood. Um, I don't know. I like that the ragtag story group. We were talking about Army of the Dead a couple weeks ago. Kind of the same theme. Like everyone has their backstories, a different power, and they're all kind of outcasts cast into one group to kind of save the world or something like that. I'm just a sucker for that kind of storyline. And with that, I think that this was probably one of the best written shows as far as animation goes, especially in the 90s. Like, who's watching animation in the 90s and getting this well written of a show? I don't think
Yeah.
I just can't compare, honestly. Dude, they go into so many things, so many stories, so many story arcs that I wish we got to see in the live action movies, but it just doesn't hit the same, you know? Like all those Fox movies, it's so Fox and kind of lame, like watered down, generic, right?
No, you're right.
I don't know. So some of the story arcs that I liked in the show, they had I mean, they did Days of Future Past. I think they did it way better than the movie. Dude, the movies kill Bishop, his character and his story. He like barely even gets any lines, any story, but like he's a huge part in that story. You get the proper Dark Phoenix arc. You get other characters as far as like, again, Bishop, Mr. Sinister. They give us Gambit. Like, where the heck is Gambit in the Fox movies, right? He's like barely there. And then Jubilee. I think Jubilee's a really cool character, but we barely get any Jubilee in the Fox series as well. So yeah, man, X-Men huge in my life. I literally right up here, I'd move my camera, but I don't want to break shit. I have a whole X-Men wall. And David's seen my my collection of comics in my living room. Yeah, I've got it all.
Like, holy
Got them framed in my living room. Yeah, so that's my second and last pick. X-Men.
Love it.
Great pick. Yeah, amazing pick.
Love it.
Yeah.
Victor, hit us with your number 2. I will say
also
that,
fix your chair.
Yeah,
dude,
I need some WD-40 for that bad boy.
Dude, I've been like, it just started happening. Yeah. I'm like waiting for this chair to break on me.
Wow, that's not great. Okay,
it's all right. I'll just edit out all the squeaking.
Perfect. I'm gonna do that too. So for my second pick, I didn't realize this. Yo, we're both picking things that started when we were born. So it's gonna be interesting.
Okay.
My second pick is one of my favorite shows of all time. I've loved it since I was a young toddler, even though it just put me in a big traumatic state. It came out on HBO, so the only way that I saw it was through the black box. You know, back in the 90s, you just stole cable. The black box, bro. So you either I saw it on there, the new episodes, or I saw the reruns on Fox, because on Fox they showed it censored at midnight, right after the X-Files on Saturday and Sunday nights. The show that I'm going to bring up, one of the most iconic horror shows of all time, Tales from the Crypt. Show started in July 1989. And that show is like the pinnacle of 90s for me, just because I remember anytime you would go to Blockbuster to their horror movie section, you would see episodes, like the VHSs of each episode, because they were that long that they were like, we're going to just release them by episode. I remember going to comic book stores and seeing that stuff, the whole show. I remember being a kid being traumatized of the Crypt Keeper. I don't know if you guys ever did that, or if you guys ever saw the show when you were that young, where you would just like, you would be waiting downstairs for the show to start. And I remember being a little ass kid just sitting down, like knowing that the Crypt Keeper is going to come out and do his crazy little demon laugh in the beginning of the show. And I would hide behind the couch and just start peeking over and then going back until I heard the laugh. And then I would go back and watch the episode. But that show is one of my favorites. And in Hollywood during that time, it's actually one of the well-known gems that Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, George Lucas. They've all worked on it, produced on it, written for the show. That show did their work pulling actors that weren't well known at the time, but that eventually blew up, like Jada Pinkett Smith, Tim Curry. Hold on, there's like a ton of actors that I can name, but it pulled in all these well-known actors and not well-known actors, and it kind of became a joke in Hollywood that, like, oh, to get famous you have to go through Tales from the Crypt. So it's one of those things where I associate it with the 90s because it's very 90s humor. It's very 90s, like every pun, every actor you see in there had a huge career in it. And it's one of those things where, like, when I remember being a kid, it being Saturday, me turning on Fox, waiting for the censored version or waiting for the HBO version, streaming it through the black box. I just remember that was one of those first things as a kid where I'm like, this is so creepy and scary. I love it. That's like a key 90s thing for me, where just sitting down, and some of the actors like Humphrey Bogart is like a well-known kind of black and white actor. Back when it was black and white, he was on it, and my dad was talking a lot about that. The late and great Christopher Reeve was on there with Meatloaf. Like my dad knew more about that, where he's like, oh, that's really cool. And I was a kid, I had no idea. I just liked the episodes. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's a very bonding thing for me, especially probably more than anything. Like it might not be as iconic as I'm thinking it is, but it was a real bonding thing because I couldn't really stand a lot of scary movies. I'm actually traumatized of Chucky and another movie called Fire in the Sky. Like I can't watch those kind of horror movies, but sitting down, watching Tales from the Crypt with my dad, just kind of him always sitting down and doing the 90s dad thing where he would just be like laying down. He's like, it's coming up. And you just see just like, I would just walk behind the couch and he's like, stay back there. And then just like, I would hear the laugh and I would just walk back and he's like, you know, that thing's on there, right? Like, and growing up and being the adult that I am now, I loved learning all about it. Like that, the Crypt Keeper puppet, the original Crypt Keeper puppet, was one of the most advanced animatronics that was ever created. It needed 9 puppeteers just for the face. That face and the face, all the bones moving, every individual thing moved around. They needed 9 puppeteers for that. The eyes, the reason why I didn't like the eyes, which makes complete sense, is that the eyes that they used, one of the puppeteers worked on Child's Play. So that's Chucky's blue eyes that they used for the fucking puppet. And it scared the ever-living crap out of me, those particular things. But that's one of those things where I enjoyed. It's very cool. If you guys want to go and watch something that'll definitely, you'll see actors that like, what was his name? That like 007, the new 007, Daniel Craig. He was in the last season of it. He was in the last season. No one knew who he was. And after that, after doing that particular episode, he got signed on to the sitcom that he was in England for a while before he blew up. And it's one of those things where it's just like, if you want to see a time machine kind of show, that's it. The X-Men show, for what it is for Vince, this was like what it was for me because I'm a big horror guy. So that's why it's one of those things where I could just ramble on for hours, but I'll stop.
Is there a favorite episode that you have, or is there a favorite episode that you have, and or is there a favorite actor or actress that you saw in there that you were like, holy shit?
So my favorite thing that they did a movie in '98 called Demon Knight. I recommend anyone getting the chance to watch that. That movie stars Billy Zane and Jada Pinkett Smith. Before she kind of blew up, this was one of her first big acting roles. And they were both my second favorite to ever appear on the series. Very cool story, very cool. It's I'll spoil it because it doesn't really matter, but it's pretty much Billy Zane plays a demon and he's hunting down a person that has one of the last keys that could keep all the demons out. And he plays this very charming jerk that's trying to get his way. And then Jada Pinkett Smith is just a person at the wrong place at the wrong time when he shows up there. And just watching them act, watching them do their thing, definitely could see Jada Pinkett was like one of the best actors on that set. That was one of my favorite things. If you guys ever have a second, it's on YouTube for free, I believe. Still, favorite episode from the actual show was with Tim Curry called Death of Some Salesman, where he won 3 separate Emmys for that show for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor because he played 3 characters in it. He played a mom, a dad, and a daughter. And
Wow.
it's one of the darkest themed ones, and that one was directed and written by Robert Zemeckis, because Zemeckis, that was one of his babies. Him and Spielberg, they were all about the EC comics back in the day, the horror comics that they were just like, those were the comics that you read underneath the blankets because you didn't want your parents to. Those were the comics that people were like, this is rotting your brain, and they're like, absolutely they were. But we loved it. It inspired us to do what we're doing now. We're great directors and writers because of this. So they wrote a lot, and that was one of those where it's like you can tell which ones are like the ones that they produced, and they wanted to make sure those came out correctly, like their adaptation to the screen. And they all said the same thing where they're like, Tim Curry was the best pick because Tim Curry at that same time auditioned to be Judge Dredd in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And Robert Zemeckis said, you're too scary for this, but can I put you in a Fox show for an episode? And he's like, yeah, of course, I love working. So that because of that connection, they were able to do that. And dude, that was one of my favorite episodes. Like, if you ever get a chance, watch it, and then you'll be like, damn, this dude, I wish he blew up more. And that episode, I remember my dad didn't like it. He's like, I don't like this guy. He was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I think that shit was weird. And I'm like, this is so good. And then when I got older, I'm like, Rocky Horror is so good. So yeah, sorry, I could just keep
Tim
going.
Curry is a powerhouse, bro. Like
Oh,
he's done a ton of iconic work
Mhm.
in Hollywood. You know, I'm not surprised he's in Tales of the Crypt. I'm looking through this as you're talking about it on IMDb, and I've never seen this. Just because I think Goosebumps was about the spookiest as I got as a kid. David's telling someone to call him over there. But yeah, I can see this. This is giving me vibes of the more modern take on the Twilight Zone on
Yeah.
CBS right now.
Mhm.
Just how it kind of seems like it's anthology, and then they switch their main cast around per episode.
Mhm.
So I'm looking through, and like Brad Pitt did an episode, Catherine O'Hara did an episode. Like, yeah. I mean, see, you know these episodes just
Mhm.
offhand by me mentioning them. That's how iconic this is to you. So it's cool, man. I'm kind of interested in watching this, even though I mean it's from the 90s. And it's such an iconic show where I think it would still hold up to this day and
Mhm.
be still a really fun show to watch, especially seeing, like you were touching on how a lot of these actors and actresses had to go through Tales of the Crypt in order to kind of get their career started. So this is kind of cool to go back and watch those episodes and be like, all right, well, this is where, this is one of the first big things that Tom Cruise did or whatever. Like, yeah, awesome pick, dude.
Hey, I got a funny thing. Brad Pitt in his episode, best actor.
Mhm.
And dude, it's weird seeing him in his 20s. Like, that was like fresh baby face. Like, he had like the dangly earring,
Fresh Pit.
fresh Prit, man.
Fresh Pit.
Fresh Prit of Crypt Town. Anyways, Mr. David, that was my that's my pick. Mr. David, what's your number 2?
What happened?
What's your number 2?
I'm kidding. I got mad earlier because you said it, Vince. And I was like, no, stop. I was trying to give you the signal, like, shut up, stop, don't say it. The Bulls / Michael Jordan. I think anybody that grew up in the 90s.
That's your pick?
Okay.
When you whipped your head off.
Okay, so I think anybody that grew up in the 90s, and you don't have to live in Chicago to have loved the Bulls. From 91, and again, we're going with the theme where our choices are our birth year. The first championship in the Jordan era was in 91. I thought that was pretty awesome. I thought that was pretty amazing. It happened before I was even born, but it happened in 91. Michael Jordan changed the game. He transcended sports. He was bigger than basketball. He created the Jordan brand, which Funny story. The Jordan ones. I'm sure a lot of people know this, but the Jordan ones, his first model shoe that he played in, he actually got fined every time that he wore those shoes. So they actually had a re-release for the Jordan ones called the banned Jordan ones, the Breads. So I thought that was pretty cool. Jordan's popularity was immense. He went. There are not too many people that can go to the Olympics or go to Barcelona in 1992 and see stand in front of a billboard of themselves in front of the Coliseum. So I'm sorry, but Jordan. Also, there was something so cool about seeing him in Space Jam, the commercials, Gatorade, McDonald's. His brand stretched past the game of basketball. He had. I mean, if you weren't rocking a pair of Jordans during the '90s, there was something wrong with you.
Or you're
Apparently,
just poor.
no, there was something wrong with you because even poor people found a way to wear Jordans. So,
Bro,
we
first
ain't
day
riding
of
with that shit.
yeah, first day of
Nah.
elementary school, like your parents would just bust out some Jordans and be like, "This is why we don't have a spare tire."
This is your gift for the year.
Oh my god,
Christmas?
yeah.
I guess
No.
I don't know.
Birthday?
I mean,
No. This is back to school. You don't know because you.
because I'm white.
Yeah, I was
Right.
like, just
I
say
wasn't
it.
gonna
was
say it, but
I was
like
about to say it. Listen,
I wasn't gonna say it,
I'm,
but like
single mother
yeah,
and white. Jordans are not priority, bro.
it hits different.
Oh.
But Jordan
It's
himself,
like we need broccoli.
right? Of course, they need broccoli.
I'll take fucking Jordans over broccoli any fucking day.
I can't wear broccoli out. These hoes are coming for me for my broccoli. I was there checking for broccoli. If I meet a woman that's just like, oh my god, you eat greens, let me marry you. I'm gonna be like, all right, cool. But no, Jordan himself. I mean, forget the 3-peat, forget the 2 3-peats, forget him coming back wearing the 4-5 jersey. Forget him hitting the double nickel. Forget him dropping it on Madison Square Garden. Like, he just reinvented the game. Like, there was a slump from when, the Lakers and the Celtics was like really huge in the 80s, and like there was like that little period in between the 80s and 90s in which people were just like, broadcasting is down, the ratings are slumping, like what are we going to do? And Jordan came out of nowhere from North Carolina and for 7 years was killing it, but couldn't make it past the Eastern Conference Finals. And then all of a sudden, you got Pippen, you got Rodman, and then they just made magic together. And he made everybody around him better. He went on to win a gold medal for the Olympics. Like, the Dream Team is iconic. They're in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yep.
One of the best records in NBA, 72-10 before, Golden State beat it. But I mean, there were so many things that Jordan did. You couldn't turn on a TV or listen to the radio or like watch a music video without him. He even did a fucking music video with Michael Jackson. Like, his stuff stretched, and even now today we're still talking about the shoes, the brand, the legacy that he left behind and part of basketball. There's nobody. LeBron is probably going to be the closest person. Even he doesn't even scratch the surface to what Jordan did for the game. And I am not talking about LeBron James as a player. I am talking about LeBron James' cultural influence. Jordan transcends the game. So Michael Jordan, for me, is going to be my second pick for the 90s, and I stand by that 1,000,000,000,000%.
I mean, okay, I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused.
What are you confused about?
Because we're on words with nerds, bro. Like, how are we tying this into the nerds?
Shoe nerds.
What?
Shoe nerds. Basketball
Shoe nerds.
nerds. Like,
Nerd,
Shoe
yeah.
nerds. Okay, collectors. I like it.
I mean,
Bro, for
I
real,
don't know
no.
many.
We just
Was
tied the knots.
Sorry, was Marty McFly not wearing a pair of Jordans
There we go.
in Back to the Future?
Hey,
Like
yeah.
the mags. They're not Jordans, but
it wasn't meant to, come down on the subject. Like I said, I'm here for it. I brought it up earlier. I just, I wanted to theoretically tie the knots for anyone who wasn't
I
connecting the dots
gotcha.
on why Michael Jordan is being brought up on a nerdy show, and I completely can attest with David that is completely viable. Marty McFly was wearing Jordans.
He was
It's
wearing the
self-timed.
Nike Mags. Actually,
Yeah.
sorry, those are not technically Jordans, but I hear that the guy who worked on the Jordan threes, Tinkerton, was his name, is actually worked on those mags. It could be a rumor, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to say is, I associated like the Jordan, like the Jordans, like the sneaker culture in general, kind of meshed with
Sure.
video game culture for me. Like as I got older, because all of the
Mhm.
cool characters that I saw in video games or TV shows or like in movies, they always had
Mhm.
like a nice pair of like
Dudes,
sneakers of some sort. Like they always had a
Sonic,
nice
right?
pair of Jordans or Nikes, and they were these nerdy
Absolutely.
guys like Kid Cudi types. Where you'll
Yep.
see him wear just like a plaid shirt and a black shirt, and then he's got on a pair of Jordan threes, and scuffed up a little bit, but he's taking care of him. He's brushing with the toothbrush. So that's
Oh,
how, and also
shit.
Jordan
Yeah.
transcends the nerdiness that is this show. There can only be
Absolutely.
one Highlander. So
No.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we can see behind Victor probably more prominently than anybody else here that we are all collectors of some sort. Victor has a lot of pops. I've got a lot of pops myself, collector stuff. David, I'm sure, has collecting
Game
stuff as well.
Game Informer magazines. Sorry,
Yeah,
have
magazines,
I have
video
over
games.
300
Yeah.
copies of Game Informer.
What the fuck?
Yeah, man. So, like I said, like we're all collectors. I think being a collector of some sort, whether it's comic books, pop figures, and even shoes and Jordans and all of that jazz, it definitely fits right in the wheelhouse of being a nerd. We get excited about the simple things.
We do.
And I will say,
but speaking, go ahead, Victor, with your anime haircut.
thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm trying. I will say I remember when the Bulls won. What was it? 97, 96. When they won. I remember, and I was still young, and I'm Latino, so like we knew about basketball. I was about it, sneakers as well. So when they won, my dad was extremely into basketball back in the 90s. We got in the car and we drove downtown, and he had a huge Bulls flag. I didn't know, like the ones that you could hang like on a normal flagpole. And he's like, hold this outside the window, and I'm like 7, dude. And he's like, hold it, and we're driving, we're driving down Lakeshore Drive with other cars. All the cars are stopping. Everyone's coming out drinking. So what you're reminding me, yeah, dude, that is the 90s for me, honestly. The Bulls, Jordan.
Yeah, it encapsulates the 90s experience, I think, very, very well. But I mean, whether it's sneakers and whether we collect things or whether we do this or that, Vince has something he's very excited about.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited.
I am. Okay, because we're all, native Chicagoans, grew up with the 90s and the Bulls and stuff. This is probably the most expensive thing I own. So if you're looking to rob me, here's a tip. This is...
Damn.
Is that an original
lived in
Bulls
Illinois,
player?
Yeah, dude, these were so hard to get in the 90s.
From the Madhouse on Madison, baby.
We got lucky because I have a lot of people that work in like dealerships and stuff in my family, like car salesmen. So yeah, it just goes to show like how hard the Bulls in the 90s hits for all of us here.
Yeah.
For all of us. And from all of us here, whether it's talking about the Bulls and their legacy and Jordan sneakers, or whether it's a Super Nintendo playing that till 3 a.m. with your friends on a Friday night, or if it's going to Blockbuster with your family and each picking out one movie to watch or be able to watch, or even if it's Linda Hamilton's Yoked arms. We here at Words with Nerds, thank you for listening. We thank you for also please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're a newcomer, you can please check out our other top notch episode, top notch comics, top notch RPGs. I believe that was. You can check those out as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. Please leave comments. We really appreciate it. Guys, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, real quick. Listen, I know like all three of us spammed our friends and family the last couple of weeks because we were trying to hit goals, and we're still trying to hit goals on subscribers and everything like that, you know, grow the channel and everything. So if you're new here, welcome. We appreciate your support. You know, if you're just stumbling across this, like David said, like and subscribe. It helps us so much. We're doing this as a hobby. But we want to grow the channel. We want to spread the love as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Victor?
No, thank you for listening.
Add to that beautiful sentiment.
No, thank you for listening. Same as Vince. Sorry for blasting you guys with the stuff. It was awesome to get to talk about like two really important things with my friends, and it was awesome seeing both of your faces just like the same fucking weird shit. And we both are all of us. I wanna find exactly where we all did the same thing. Where we're just like, yeah. Anyways, we could go on that for a minute. Like, just like we all hit that mental block. We're like, we're just going on about something.
Oh yeah.
Which is nice. It's actually really wonderful seeing that though, because you guys got so into it, and it was awesome. Thank you guys for watching. The Gold Edition, number 31, like my age. Thank you so much. That's all I got.
All right, guys, from the Triple S crew and Juice and Coda and Attila and all of the other beautiful dogs that you and Amanda have, and my lack of dogs here. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We hope to see you at issue 32. And if you're listening, thank you for listening to the smooth and sultry noises of the Words with Nerds crew. Anyways, we're taking you out, and have a good one.
Peace.
Later, guys.